It's actually the easiest thing ever. Just make sure you're on an existing project. So it can be a new project like a Java block item model. You just have to have a model open. And then all you do is literally just drag the texture file, the PNG file, into BlockBench. And then it'll have this menu and you click extrude image and you have some settings. So you can choose if you want to have it upright or if you want to have it flat. And I'll just go with upright and that's it. You know, it already makes your flat sprite into 3D cubes. And then what's nice to do at this point is optimize it. Just go at the top over to the tools menu and then you click optimize here. And then you can choose to restrict it to selected elements, right? So only the element you have in your selection. Since my entire model is only this extruded texture, it doesn't matter what I choose. So I'll just click confirm and it's going to remove, well, in this case, 9 faces, right? That were hidden. So it's going to optimize your model a little bit. At this point, what you could even do to optimize it further, if you want, and if it's possible with the texture space you have available, select your entire model, delete all the north and the south faces, right? So it's just the edges like this. And then you add an element. So you add a new cube that you can texture. You just make it just as thick as the blade, right? And then you have it across the entire width of the size of the blade. Then give it the same texture as the blade. And then, you know, you align the south and the north faces, right? And I guess you have to flip them. Maybe only, okay, so you only have to flip the north face. There you go. So you flip it correctly again. You can disable all these other faces because you don't need it. And now you have an even more optimized model because the front side is not even made up of little cubes. So that's how you do it, including a hyper optimization trick. But of course, you should only do this if you're making a model and you're adding cubes to it, right? If you're adding other details to it, because otherwise you should just parent the built-in generated model, which I explained in the last video, how you parent the built-in generated model. That's how you get your cubes to be 3D automatically. And then you can just set display settings for it so it all looks proper. But for many projects, you'll want to incorporate an item into an entity model even, right? And for that, BlockBench has a real nice feature. You just drag the PNG in there and that's it. And at the end, before you save your model, you'll want to go over to your texture and click on properties and rename the variable to set it to particle, all right? Every model just needs to have at least one texture with the variable set to particle. Otherwise, it's going to print an error in the error log. Right click, properties, rename variable to particle. That's it. You're done. And you can even do it for textures of a different resolution. Like I'll have Armadale's Godsword. I'll throw it in and I'll extrude it and you'll see that it's really tiny compared to the backstabber, right? But there is a really nice scaling option in BlockBench that just lets me scale the selected cubes by a factor of well, whatever I want. So in this case, the texture dimension of my Armadale Godsword is 64 by 64 pixels. That's 4 times as big as the backstabber, which is just a default resolution. So if we scale this up by 4, if it fits, which it barely does. Actually, you know what you want to do before you scale it? Just set the pivot point to the middle, okay? So the pivot tool is this, and the pivot point actually determines from where BlockBench starts to scale it. So you probably want to scale it from the middle, all right? And there's this nice center pivot button here. And then if we start to scale it, it should actually stay in place, and we have a bigger chance of it fitting within the vanilla model restrictions, which is 3 by 3 blocks. So it works on bigger items too. You just have to apply some scaling logic. And keep in mind that if you're scaling, you really have to watch out from what point you're scaling, because, you know, you don't have much room to move this model even, right? With the vanilla 3 block limit. All right, have a nice day and enjoy and good luck.